I'd like to bring this meeting of the Clay County Commission to order. We will begin with our Invocation Administrator. When you are prepared, please proceed.
Yes, please join us in an attitude of prayer. God in heaven, as we begin this meeting, we ask for guidance of our thoughts and actions so that we may have a successful meeting today. Help us to accomplish our goals, and thank you for the opportunity to serve the residents of Clay County. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte.
Here.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Here.
Is there a motion for the approval of today's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Motion has been made for the approval of the agenda as printed. Is there any discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yes.
That brings us to our meeting schedule. Administrator?
The next meeting of the commission will be a business session to be held Wednesday, September 14th at 6 p.m. in the evening here in the chambers.
Thank you. There are no honorary resolutions on tonight's agenda, or today's agenda, excuse me. Under discussion items, we have one item. Administrator?
Yes, as I had mentioned earlier, the county received the GFOA Budget Award for the 2022 budget, and we have received our plaque and information, and so I'd like to introduce the leader of the budget team, our county auditor, Victor Herbert, who will be here to present to the commission the award and recognize the team.
Wow.
Oh, it's heavier than I thought. Ooh, it's got some heft to it. That's nice. Very nice.
Oh, you're right.
Well, good afternoon, Commissioners. Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. I just wanted to quickly, as Budget Officer Administrator Wright indicated, we previously made this announcement and press release about this award. If you recall, earlier in the year, we did a little presentation about our digital budget book that's now live for citizens to see how county government operates and see all of its operations and where the money goes, where it comes from, things like that. So just wanted to take some time today and recognize our budget team, just to give them really some recognition. They're really the faces behind, behind the scenes, doing a lot of the work, crunching the numbers, and so that's really kind of the purpose I wanted to have today. Just some background. Again, a distinguished budget presentation award from the Government Finance Officers Association. This is the first GFOA award in Clay County's history. There are only a handful of other counties in Missouri that have ever received this budget award, including the likes of Boone County and St. Louis County. And we want to continue on this path and get other financial reporting awards into the future, and certainly into the 2023 budget with our new budget officer. Keep getting this every year. The plaque before you, I present and want to keep with the county. It's the county's award, and in future years we won't get a plaque, but we'll get medallions that we can add to that every year. So again, the major 4 areas of assessment for the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award are a policy document, a financial plan, an operations guide, and a communications device. And there are 14 mandatory criteria that we had to pass when we submitted it earlier this year for the 2022 budget, and 25 criteria overall. So without further ado, I don't know how you want to operate, maybe a photo with our budget team members, but we have my Chief Deputy Auditor, Benjamin Pedersen, and Finance Specialist 2, Kathy Minton, both who have many years of service with Clay County and helped us get to where we are. And I also thank the Commission and all staff for allowing us to get that. We've seen market improvement from 21 and 22. So without that, I have the actual certifications for our staff members, and that's about all I have.
We'll go ahead and we'll maybe make a couple of comments from here, and then maybe get some photos by the flags, if that's okay.
Commissioner Thompson, would you like to start?
I will. So I will say that this is a very tremendous honor here for Clay County, and you heading this up is terrific. And we do have, you nailed right on the head. We have a fantastic budget team. You guys do a terrific job, and for years they have been doing hard work here for Clay County, and there's not much more I can say about it. You guys are fantastic. We appreciate you. We couldn't do our jobs without you, and this is a huge honor. So.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's good to have this plaque official. I know we celebrated the award a number of weeks ago, and thank you to Benjamin and Kathy and Victor and everybody for helping us achieve this. And I think yet another sign that the county has turned a page and is in a new and better era, and it's a good thing.
I just want to echo what Commissioner Carpenter just said, because he's right. This is turning a real distinctive page. That page began to turn when we had our 2 new commissioners come in, and I think a considerable upgrade, I'll put it that way. But that kind of difference in leadership has really, I hope, allowed what is a fantastic budget team to flourish. And you guys don't necessarily get credit very often. I'm happy that we're able to do that now. And this is really, I think, yet another sign that we are, as a county, becoming a more professional and a truly first-class county. And obviously, Mr. Auditor, with your leadership, that's been a tremendous asset to what we've been able to accomplish in responsible budgeting. To think that it was just a few years ago that we were embroiled in a state audit, and then a number of concerns were raised. And look where we are now. And I can't help but think that with the current team we have and any additions that we have as we go forward, we're going to just become even more and more professional. And these awards will, I think, be almost a routine thing, but we should never take them as granted, because this award reflects an enormous amount of hard work on the part of staff, and their intelligent and responsible budgeting skills coming to bear. With that, we'll go ahead. Did you have anything that you'd like to add, Administrator?
Well, certainly I want to congratulate the team. It is, I'm just now beginning the first budget process with the county, and sat through a week of meetings with the team. They're very knowledgeable and very helpful. And there's a lot that goes into putting a budget together and producing a document that's usable not only by the elected officials. It is the most important policy decision that the elected officials make, but also making it transparent to our residents and being able to go out on the website and, put it in plain language. Not all of us are accountants, and so I think that's very important for our taxpayers to understand where does the money come from and how is it spent. It does take a lot of work to submit for this budget award, and I will tell you, getting it your first time out is to be commended to the team. That says a lot about the document and the work that they did. So I'm very excited to go through the budget process for 23.
And we are looking forward to your leadership in this endeavor too. So thank you so much. So do we want to go ahead and get a couple of pictures in front of the flags?
You want to try and carry it? It's heavy.
It is, I told you it's heavy.
It's heavy. You take it. It's heavy.
Thank you. All right, nice way to start a meeting with some very good news. Public hearings, we have none for today's agenda. We have no consent agenda. That brings us to our regular agenda. First item on that agenda is 2022-264. Administrator?
Resolution 2022-264 is the consideration of a request for the waiver of fees, interest, and penalties for taxes on the Church of Liberty. Assessor Tracy Baldwin and Collector Barbara O'Reilly are here to talk about this particular request with the commission.
Good afternoon,
Go right
Commissioners. Tracy Baldwin, Clay County Assessor. I'm here with Barbara O'Reilly, the collector, and we both agree that there's no error on the county's part, but we can answer any questions that you may have with this case.
It sounds to me, I mean, it was just, it's as though you've gone through this in your records and there's nothing there that seems to indicate that there was any problems as far as the way the county handled this, that it was all
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much-
correct. There's for this to be waived, there has to be an error on the county's part again, and there was no error made on either office.
Right. Commissioner Carpenter?
I have no questions, but thank you.
Commissioner Thompson?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Is the, I'm sorry, did you have anything? Okay. Is the applicant here, and would they like to make any kind of comments? Is there anyone else who would like to comment on this issue? Seeing none, I think that put 2022-264 on regular agenda.
I'm comfortable with that. Do we need to, we don't need to mark
Oh, approved.
approve or decline today? I guess since it's not consent, probably not, yeah.
As long as it's going on, we can leave it open.
That's what I figured. Okay, great. That brings us to three items that are grouped together, 2022, 274, 275, and 276.
Resolutions 2022-274, 275, and 276 are companion or resolutions regarding the zoning, preliminary, and final plat for Lake Ridge Meadows subdivision. Planning and Zoning Manager Jones is here to provide information to the commission.
Please proceed.
Kip Jones, Planning and Zoning Manager. So this is a proposed subdivision called Lake Ridge Meadows. I've got it pulled up as it currently exists. It's outlined in yellow. It is approximately 88 acres. It is zoned agricultural, and it is on the corner of 168th Street, which runs in front of the lot here, and then Quinn Road on the east side of the lot. The proposal is to subdivide the 88 acres into 5 lots. There would be 3 lots that are roughly 14 to 16 acres. Those would be zoned R1, which is our residential rural zoning for lots that are between 10 and 20 acres. 2 lots would be able to remain zoned agricultural. You can see the big lot here with the pond and the far eastern lot. Since they are 20 plus acres, they would remain zoned ag. The smaller lots, you can see in the back, the county code requires something called an agricultural land preservation. That basically becomes a no-build zone. It's a way for the county to keep a portion of the lot preserved in its natural state. And the 3 smaller lots would be required to have that ALP. And then there is a pipeline easement that runs through the western lot. You can see it runs north and south, but with the size of the lot, there is still a buildable space for one single-family home. And again, we're creating these lots to be buildable lots. The general rule for the county is we allow one single-family home per lot. So we'd be talking about 5 additional homes at this location. The comprehensive plan indicates that this property is in the natural resources tier. The general rule for the county is 20 plus acres unless you meet one of the exemptions. One of the exemptions for the natural resources tier is a 5 plus acre lot as long as the lots less than 20 acres have that agricultural land preservation. Here's the surrounding area a little bit. You can see the subject parcel here. Smithville Lake is to the northeast and northwest. And this map over here gives you a better idea of the lot sizes. This is the subject property. And then you can see anywhere that you have this POD, that's an agricultural land preservation. So you can see all these PODs are properties that we've split over the past 5 to 10 years. So we've had quite a few subdivisions in this area. The proposed lot sizes for today's subdivision are actually larger than a lot of the 5-acre lots that are in this area. So the staff believes this matches with the large lots that are still there and some of the smaller lots that have been created by the subdivisions. We always talk about our rezoning criteria. The Land Development Code states that these criteria should be reviewed by the administration bodies, such as the County Commission. It does not state that these have to be met, although staff believes, due to the lot size that they're proposing for this development, that it is compatible with existing zoning and nearby property, that this is also consistent with the comp plan, and we have not received any objections from the outside agencies. So we believe we can provide services to these additional lots. This case follows our normal process, which includes publishing it in the newspaper. We sent a total of 30 certified letters. We posted a sign on the subject property, and this went in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission, with the County Commission have final say to approve or deny. As I stated, we brought in outside agencies. They received all their approvals. I want to go back to one of the maps here because the Highway Department has requested that 168th Street along the frontage be improved by the developer. They gave the developer the option to do the work or contract the work themselves or pay the Highway Department $50,000 for the future improvements. It's my understanding that the developer is going to pay the $50,000 before the recording of the final plat. Other than that, they did receive all their other outside agency approvals. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public meeting on this case. There was discussion from one adjacent property owner about the demolition of several buildings and the burning of some of that material. Planning and zoning staff referred that to the Smithville Fire District. That's more their area than ours. They indicated that they were aware, but there were not any violations. The Planning and Zoning Commission did vote 5-0 to approve with 2 conditions, one of those conditions being the road improvement complete or that fee paid to the Highway Department. I would be happy to answer any questions the commissioners may have, and the applicant is present as well.
Are there any questions of Mr. Jones?
No questions, thank you.
No questions, thank you.
Is the applicant present, and would you care to address the commission? Yeah, he'll help you there.
There we go. Kyle Meyer, representing Olderwell Farms. My address is 939 Northeast 401 Road, Warrensburg, Missouri. Happy to answer any questions.
It sounds, Commissioner Thompson?
I don't have any questions at the moment, thank you.
Okay.
No questions, thank you.
Okay.
I just, how large are the homes that you're going to be building on there?
Based on other similar-sized homes in the area, we're expecting some very nice larger style homes to be built on each of these lots. We divided the property only into 5 lots because we felt like there were 5 premier build sites on this property, and aesthetically from both Quinn Road and 168th Street, we feel like it's a very prime property with its highest and best use being rural residential on those 3 lots less than 20 acres. And the lay of the land, we decided to leave, the 2 lots as ag that are greater than 20 acres.
So they're really pretty consistent with what there is in the area.
Correct.
Okay. I don't think we have any other questions beyond that.
I'd like to compliment Kip and his staff for their help with these processes. That they make life easy, so appreciate Kip and his team. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present who would like to comment on these 3 issues? Seeing none. Just to recap, Mr. Jones, there was no real opposition to this?
No, the only concern from the adjacent property owner was the burning that took place. They did demo several of the structures. If you can see on the aerial, I think all but maybe one of those structures have been demolished. But as I stated, we reached out to the fire district and they did not have any concerns.
So that's now a moot point anyway.
Yes, and we would look into any future violations, but I don't expect that.
Okay. Any discussion?
No discussion. I'm comfortable putting this on consent for approval.
That's kind of what I was thinking, is consent.
I feel comfortable with that, yes.
Very well. 2022, 274, 275, and 276 will be on next week's consent. By the way, just for the applicant and some of the other people who are coming before us on these issues, we will either put the issues onto our regular agenda, which means we will have another full hearing of them next week, or we will put them on consent, which means those items will be rolled into one large vote, so all the consent items will be voted on as a group. And certainly you're more than welcome to attend that meeting or any other meeting you want to attend. It's not as pressing as it would be if it were on regular agenda. Then I would certainly think that you would be interested in being here, but you and everyone else, of course, who has an interest are more than welcome to attend our meetings. That brings us to 2022-277, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-277 is consideration of a conditional use permit for Carolyn's Country Cousins. Planning and Zoning Manager Jones is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Kip Jones, Planning and Zoning Manager. So this is a renewal of a conditional use permit for Carolyn's Pumpkin Patch. It is currently unplatted. It's zoned agricultural. You can see it's pulled up on the screen there. There's several structures on it. The original conditional use permit was approved in August of 2004, and then basically every 5 years it has been renewed. By the Land Development Code, it's considered an ATO, or Agricultural Tourist Operation Class 2 facility. The proposed CUP, basically the nature of this business is agritourism and agri-education. It's open Labor Day weekend through October 31st. They estimate that they receive about 90,000 visitors a year in that time period, and it's open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. with extended hours on Friday and Saturday. The comp plan states this is in the rural low density tier. It is within a mile of the city of Liberty. Some of the non-residential uses for this tier include farm service related and recreation, and we believe this use fits within those non-residential uses. So you can see the surrounding area. It is vastly surrounded by just bottom farmland. So it's not highly populated, and it's obviously the southern part of the county. There are specific conditional use permit criteria, and those conditional use permit criteria are a little bit different than the rezoning criteria. The conditional use permit criteria says a conditional use permit shall not be approved unless the county commission determines, based directly upon the evidence presented, that all the following conditions exist. So staff believes these conditions exist and are consistent with the comp plan and land development code due to the ag-related uses and activities, no objections from the outside agencies, and no objections or complaints from the adjacent property owners. And as I stated, this has been renewed several times with no concerns as well. This follows our normal process, which is publishing in the newspapers. This will show you how lowly densely populated this area is. We sent a total of 2 certified letters for this case. So not a lot of letters sent for this one. We did post a sign, and it went in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission and then County Commission to approve or deny. We reached out to the outside agencies. No objections from any of those departments. The Highway Department did require that the applicant pull 2 commercial driveway permits, and that has been taken care of by the applicant. The Planning and Zoning voted 5-0 to approve with 12 conditions. We did not receive any opposition leading up to or during that meeting. And one of the conditions I want to point out is Planning and Zoning Commission approved this for a period of 10 years. Last time it was renewed, it was for 5 years, and I think the main reason for that was the first time that they started to serve alcohol on site. So we put a shorter time period, but with the lack of complaints, staff recommended 10 years, and Planning and Zoning Commission agreed. With that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions the commissioners may have, and the applicant is present as well.
Thank you. There, I assume, been no reasons to think that there's been any violation in the past on the CUP?
No, sir.
I would not have thought so. And really, there have been, any changes have not been such that they would impact the requirements for the CUP?
That is correct.
Okay. Commissioner Thompson?
I have no questions, thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Thank you. Just one. The 12 conditions, are they the same as in the previous iteration of the CUP other than the 5 to 10 year?
Yes, I think the only change was the time length.
Okay, thank you.
If the applicant is present, would you like to speak?
Yes, I'm Carolyn Rash, 17607 Northeast 52nd, Liberty, Missouri, 64068, co-owner of Carolyn's Country Cousins Pumpkin Patch. We have been in business for 32 years. Again, like I said, I feel like we're actually part of a much, much larger farming operation. This is just a little branch off of what it's turned into. All of our family is involved, all of our kids, and then now getting to be grandkids are all involved in our commercial farming operation. So this is just something that we feel that goes along with it and that also provides a service. We do entertain a lot of school kids during the week, so they're in the agri-education department, and a service that we provide. We have, we've done basically everything. Like we said, we've already purchased the highway permits. We currently have all kinds of. We follow everything from the liquor licenses to the licensing of a couple of my rides and different things like that. So pretty much have followed every condition that we've had previously and feel like this is, hopefully keep on for many years.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's, you guys are sort of an institution around here, so certainly we are always happy to hear from you. Any questions?
I have no questions, but, we all love coming out to the pumpkin patch, so I would be a terrible person if I did not approve this, so where would we go?
Thank you.
No questions. Just thanks for being here. Y'all are a fun and great asset for the community, and look forward to approving you for another 10 years.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would care to comment on 2022-277? Seeing none, I'm thinking consent.
Agreed, yep.
Yes, please.
I'm already messing the numbers up. 2022-277 will be on consent for our next meeting.
With approval.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I have a,
Just with
With
approval.
approval.
yeah, with approval?
Yep.
Mr. Counselor, with approval marked on this?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
If it's going on consent, that is correct.
Thank you for that. Very well. That brings us to two companion items, 2022-278 and 2022-279.
Resolution 2022-278 and 279 are companion resolutions for the zoning and final replat of Lot 1, Crockett Edition 2005. Planning and Zoning Manager Jones will present information to the Commission.
The 222 thing is kind of contagious, isn't it?
Can you tell we had a 3-week break and I'm out of practice?
Mr. Jones, please proceed.
Kip Jones, Planning and Zoning Manager. So this is a rezoning and final for Crockett Edition 2005. It has been platted in the past. It does have one single-family home on the lot. The proposal is to divide it into 2 lots. Currently it's zoned ag. Here's the proposed subdivision. So you've got the house on the 6-acre lot, and then we're creating a larger 14-acre lot on the west side that would be able to have one additional house. The 6-acre lot would be zoned R5, which is our standard for lots between 5 and 10 acres. The 14-acre lot would be zoned R1, which is our standard for 10 but less than 20 acres. There is a blue line stream on the north of the property. The Land Development Code requires a 75-foot setback that will be noted on the plat. It basically becomes a no-build zone. The comprehensive plan indicates this is in the natural resources tier. Again, that exception for the natural resources tier is 5+ acres as long as we do an agricultural land preservation, which they are proposing an ALP on the 2 lots. Here you can see the surrounding area a little bit. We're pretty far north in the county. We're CC Highway, C Highway to the west, and that's the Clinton County line there in gray. You can see it's kind of a mix in this area. There is some large lot agricultural zoned lots, and then there are some subdivisions that were done in the 70s and 80s that are lots that are 3 to 5 acres in that range. So it's kind of a mix in this area. But staff believes the 6-acre lot and the 14-acre lot match the surrounding area. We've got the same 5 rezoning criteria, which should be reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission and County Commission. Staff believes this is consistent with the comp plan. It matches the surrounding area, and no service provider has stated any objection. This followed our same process. We sent a total of 17 letters. We looped in all the outside agencies. In this case, there were no objections from those agencies, and they all gave approvals. And there was no opposition leading up to or during the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to approve with 2 conditions. One of those conditions, and I'll show you on the plat, is since this is a state highway, they try to limit the access. So MoDOT approved a shared driveway entrance right at the lot line, so there'll just be one entrance off of CC Highway. So that is one of the conditions, is that we record a shared driveway agreement between those 2 lots. I'd be happy to answer any questions commissioners may have, and the applicant is present as well.
Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
No questions.
Did you say the applicant was present?
Yes, sir.
Would the applicant like to make comment on this? Very good. Is there anyone who would like to make any comments on 2022-279? Seeing none. Any discussion?
Works for me. Yep.
Yeah, with approval.
Thank you. I'm glad I got you guys on either side of me to keep me down the lane. 2022-279 will go on the consent agenda next week with the box approved, checked. I'm sorry, 278 and 279. That brings us to 2022 Ordinance 24, Administrator.
Yes, 2022-ordinance 24 is consideration of reappropriating and revising the 2022 budget. Janet Rogers is here. This is an acceptance of a state grant for youth services programs.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon. Janet Rogers, Chief Juvenile Officer and Director of Juvenile Court Services. This is a request for, we were able to get a grant for $25,000. The Office of Dispute Resolution, who's housed in the family court, is administering this. They have set up programs, care programs, which is restitution for kids who have who have to pay back restitution, for juveniles who've broken the law and owe their victims money. We've got that program. We've got victim offender dialogue, where the victims can meet with the offenders. We've got Girls Circle, Boys Circle. This money all goes towards keeping juveniles out of the system as much as possible. They're diversion programs to try to keep them even out of our formal court system, and to try to keep them, and why Division of Youth Services provides us with this money every year is to try to keep them out of state's custody, which would be the next step up. So we have a variety of diversion programs that we use this funding for. It has been very successful, I feel, especially addressing the victims of the delinquents that we have, to try to atone for their actions.
It sounds like, first off, thank you for applying for and achieving the grant. The secondary part is, and even more important than that, is that these kinds of programs that help to divert young people from becoming, more and more involved in criminal activity is certainly money well invested, not just in dollars and cents, but is certainly a even greater benefit to our community in terms of keeping it safe and quality of life for those people who live here. So, very good job. Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
I will second that, and I will say we have a number of departments here in the county that we only see them when they come to bring us these beautiful grants, and they do a terrific job of bringing these grants in. And you, Mr. Rogers, does a terrific job of this as well. And we'd love to see you around here more often, but of course, I will be approving all of these today as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter?
I just want to say the same thing. It's good to see you again, and thank you for all of your work. This is incredibly important work, and your community is in your debt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak on this issue? Seeing none. Although I would put it on regular just so we could talk about it some more, I think it's probably appropriate to put this on consent agenda.
I agree.
2022 ordinance 24 will be on next week's consent agenda. That brings us to 2022 ordinance 25. Administrator?
2022 ordinance 25 is consideration of reappropriating and revising the existing year's budget in recognition of a state grant that is for $8,000 over a 2-year period, this year and next year. And again, Janet Rogers is here to talk about the grant.
Please go on and on.
Okay. Janet Rogers, Juvenile Officer. This is $8,000 we were awarded from the state in order to have electronic monitoring and tracking. This deals with our delinquent juveniles. This allows us to leave them out in the community, not necessarily detain them. And also the ones that we do have on probation, it allows us to have a more consistent tracking of their activities when they're out. We can do electronic monitoring. We have staff that is contracted through this grant to go out and check on the kids at home, at school, at work, to make sure they're where they're supposed to be, where they say they are. So it's just another level of accountability for those kids out in the community to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do after they've been adjudicated on delinquency.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Once again, I'm going to approve this, and we would love to have you come back to see us for other things. But yes, you are doing great work over there. So
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Yeah.
Anyone care to comment on 2022 ordinance 25? Seeing none, if it's the will of the commission, 2022 ordinance 25 will be on consent for our next meeting.
Perfect.
Very good. That brings us to 2022-280. Administrator?
Resolution 2022-280 is consideration of a resolution for a request to transfer funds within a fund, and County Auditor Herbert is here to provide information to the commission.
Please proceed.
Yes, Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. So Resolution 2022-280 is a transfer of $33,985 from the Sheriff's Cyber Crimes payroll department lines. It's currently a vacant position right now, and to transfer that amount into the Grants Department of 559. My office, as part of our responsibilities, monitors payroll expenditures, and after this Friday, there's only enough budget in 559 of the payroll lines for one more payroll for the rest of the year. And so this will essentially move what is left over in 552, to 559 to try and provide enough for the rest of the year. We assess that the reason for the high trend in the 559 department is due to overtime usage, high overtime usage. The grants covered regular hours and not overtime. So that was kind of the reason there. And that's really all I have. This does have the sheriff's approval, coordinated with the sheriff's office. Captain Negdarian couldn't make it today, but we spoke with her about what this is. So.
Okay. Questions? Commissioner Carpenter?
No questions. Thank you.
no questions. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. 2022-280 for consent?
I agree.
Yes, please.
Very well. 2022-280 will be on next week's consent agenda. That brings us to 2022 ordinance 26. Administrator?
2022-ordinance-26 is consideration of reappropriation and revising the current year's budget for Arpa funding. County Auditor Herbert is here to provide information to the commission.
Please proceed.
Yes, Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. So in this year, we already received in 2022, we received the second round of the American Rescue Plan Act funds in the amount of $24,274,734.50. We received that same amount last year. If you recall earlier, we already budgeted the amount of our revenue loss budget per the guidelines up to the maximum of $10 million for a jurisdiction our size, which including the calculation that we did last year of around $900,000, it was 9.1 million is what we already budgeted for the revenue loss. So we have some left over that wasn't budgeted from that 24 million, roughly, $15 million, $15.1 million to be exact. And so essentially what this is administrator worked with a lot of county departments, and the team put together a lot of internal rescue plan requests, as well as taking into consideration those external requests for community partners. And putting that all together, what is before you with 2022 Ordinance 26 is to essentially allocate those funds that had not been budgeted yet. We wanted to wait until we actually received the funds. And so all the requests all in from the second tranche come out to $14,880,618. That's the revenue account that we will increase, and then we'll split that same amount out 3 ways among the remaining expenditure accounts, with 1.5 million for the COVID response public health category, 8.6 million to infrastructure for that water and sewer primarily, and then 4.8 million for the economic recovery. And as in your previous commission meetings, Administrator went over with you about the plans for that, and that's what this represents essentially. It's just giving that budget. After this, you still have $302,291 left to be allocated. And I will tell you that in doing the reporting and monitoring, we are going to have to continually revisit just this amount of money. You're going to have project savings. You're going to have things that don't get encumbered for whatever reason, or on the opposite side, projects that might need more. And so there's going to be a continued reassessment, and we'll work with the minister on to make sure we have enough budget to get that all done. And as a reminder, you can obligate out until the end of 2024 and expend by the end of 2026. So we'll take what the balance is at the end of 22 based on this and all the projects, and take that into consideration for the 2023 budget. It will be budgeted, and then we won't come back to you in future years apart from the budget process to handle the rescue plan.
Questions?
No questions, thank you.
No questions, thank you.
Okay. This is essentially putting the ARPA money into proper buckets for its usage later on.
That's correct, and it helps us track so we can see how much did we spend by use to make it more transparent.
Okay. Is there anyone else wishing to comment on 2022 Ordinance 26? Seeing none. Consent?
I'm comfortable with that.
Works for me, thanks.
Very good. 2022 Ordinance 26 will appear on our consent agenda at our next meeting. That brings us to 2022-283. Administrator?
Yes, Resolution 2022-283 is consideration of approving the use of ARPA fund for tourism coordinator and programs for the tourism activities. And if I might just indicate, the next 9 items are really tied to, as the auditor said, he's now made available the ARPA funds. These 9 projects were discussed with the commission back in August, and you did authorize the project. You will now hear from staff again, providing you the same information, and this step then authorizes the funding, and the projects could then move forward. So we'll start with the very first one, which has to do with the tourism coordinator and the tourism program, and HR Manager Callahan is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Hey, good afternoon. Kim Callahan, Clay County Human Resources Manager. Okay, we'll start with the tourism coordinator. We are requesting $250,000 for a 2-year wage and operations. The tourism coordinator would provide resources for us to pursue certification with the state that enables us to go for the marketing platform development grant, which is a 50-50 reimbursement up to $250,000 for marketing. It also will enable us to prepare to bring tourism to Clay County during the 2026 World Cup in KC.
Questions?
No questions, thank you.
No questions, thank you.
So this would be not only for salary, but
And operations,
in
yes.
operations.
Yes.
I was comfortable doing a consent agenda on the ones where we move the money around. Now that we're talking about allocating it, and I suspect I'm going to be thinking the same thing, just to kind of, I guess maybe for the sake of moving it smoothly. On these, I think I would like to revisit these on as a regular agenda item next week, since we're talking about the actual disbursement.
Oh, I absolutely agree, yeah, for sure.
Very good. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on 2022-283? Yes. Absolutely. Please come on up to the podium and identify yourself.
Well, like I said, Carolyn Rash, 17607 Northeast 52nd. I've been involved in tourism, whether I knew it or not, for over 30 years. So in the later years, I've been on the Tourism Commission on and off and been involved in different activities in the county for probably the last 20. And I think, and I've seen it on larger levels, I've seen it on state level, I've seen it on international levels, I belong to several organizations, and I think that there is if this is another step in getting an active tourism position and board in Clay County, it's such a good step in the right direction. I think tourism itself, a lot of people don't recognize what that involves. I mean, that can have somebody from paying to hunting on your land to staying in your extra little bed and breakfast. It's just that resource is so untapped. And so I think that if we can just keep moving forward with this, it's something like she said with the 2026 World Cup. We also have the NFL draft. People will be staying in our hotels. There is such a movement in Kansas City and in the surrounding areas that we are going to reap so much from all of these things, and I think we just really, really need to, and you know, I think COVID with the staycation and everything like that, a lot of people realize that you know, we need to look into other avenues, and so I think this is a huge step in the right direction. I'm so much in support of it.
Thank you. And I think just to add on to your point, this is a good opportunity for us as we approach these opportunities that you referred to, is to now kind of rethink through and make sure that we have our tourism effort is geared towards what is going to be happening in the future. So this is a good opportunity for us, the ability to have these funds, the events that you referred to in the offing as well as others. This gives us an opportunity to review what it is we've done in the past and what we've done well and what we need to maybe upgrade for the future. So yeah, in my mind, this is pretty much a part of that process. Any other comments on 2022-238, or 283, excuse me? Seeing none, regular agenda?
Agree.
2022-283 will be on a regular agenda next week. That brings us to, I'm getting the twos again, 2022-284, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-284 is the consideration of utilizing Arpa funding for a job training program. And again, Human Resource Manager Callahan is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Kim Callahan, HR Manager. Okay, this is for the job training that would be conducted through Government Training Institute, through MARC, which is the Mid-American Regional Council. We're requesting $18,000 for 3 years training. Now, this would be conducted on site, the training would be. This would accommodate 50 managers and supervisors, which would cover our managers and supervisors that we have currently. This training would cover COVID updates, prevention measures in the workplace, but it will also include performance management, coaching and motivation, which is so important right now, and also management conflict, which is also very important right now.
I think this is a good idea, particularly when you think in terms of, as we go forward, our relations between management and employees is going to be important. We want to make sure that we are doing our best to make sure that we provide the best possible training to our management team, not only for smooth operations, but that way it can maybe offset any, or I should say, avoid any issues down the road that might come up. It might make it easily to resolve those in an amicable fashion. Commissioner Thompson?
No questions, thank you.
No questions, thank you.
Any further comment on 2022-284? Seeing none, 2022-284 will be on regular for next meeting.
Agree.
That brings us to 2022-285, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-285 is the consideration of the utilization of Arpa funding for a retention incentive program. HR Manager Callahan is here to present information.
Proceed.
Good afternoon, Kim Callahan, HR Manager. Okay, this is the Retention Incentive Program, and this is to help our employees, help retain employees that we have. Right now, we've seen a real increase. We're losing our talent, and right now, the cost to recruit and train new employees, it's just not worth it. Right now, the program would look at full-time employees with a salary rate of $25.48, which at this time, there's 65% of the county employees fall below this 2020 average hourly rate. Okay, and that's what we're looking at, is giving a lump time sum of $1,400 with all the IRS deductibles. And I know before, the auditor was concerned about people leaving. What if someone would leave? You know, this is for them to stay a year, and they would sign a contract with us that they would stay a year. And we also have a status change form for every employee if someone terminates. So we're going to put it on the status change form, and payroll would look at whether they have signed the contract and got the money, and if they left before the year, then we would calculate and prorate what they would owe back and take it out of their last check. And this is included in the contract. Let's see. I think another concern was, what if there's leftover money? That would go back to the Arpa funds. You know, if we get money back from someone that left early, that would go back to the Arpa funds. Let's see. On that, that's basically it.
Okay. Commissioner Carpenter?
No questions, just thank you for your work, and I know a number of folks worked on putting this program together. I think it makes a lot of sense, obviously, with just sort of the economic trends that are going on in the country, both with regard to a really low unemployment rate, but also high inflation. You know, I know all employers are needing to be creative in terms of how to, you know, keep employees around, and, you know, grateful that Clay County is going to do this. I think it would be good for our employees and for our citizens. So, thank you.
Commissioner Thompson?
No questions, thank you.
I don't know if you got covered. When would you anticipate, assuming it went through the process as anticipated, when would you figure on disbursement of these monies to employees?
Well, it would be a special payroll, and I anticipate possibly 2 weeks for us to go to each department and talk to the employees and to get it processed.
Okay. Is there anyone else wishing to comment on 2022-285? Seeing none. 2022-285 for regular agenda next week. Very good. That brings us to 2022-286. Administrator?
Resolution 2022-286 is the consideration of the utilization of ARPA funding for a wellness and financial program for county employees. HR Manager Callahan is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Okay, Kim Callahan, HR Manager. This is $24,000 we're asking will cover 3 years, which will enable all of our county employees to use the Smart Dollar program. This will help with the current inflation. It will help reduce stress for our employees. It's a 24/7 program that employees can use, and it helps them, gives them tools to live within their means, not just live paycheck to paycheck. We've had, the Sheriff's Department uses it, and we want to be able to expand and let all our employees use it. I mean, with inflation right now, to lower their stress level would only help out the employees and the customers that come to see them or they interact with. The average user reports more than $16,000 in debt paid and dollars saved in the first year on this program. There's also, they help you, blast out to the employees and let them know it's available, and also they make it available for the spouses. We know a lot of times the spouse is able to help with the budget, and so it's available for both of them.
Okay. Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
No questions, thank you.
Any further comments on 2022-286? Seeing none, 2022-286 will appear on next week's regular agenda. Thank you. That brings us to 2022-266. Administrator?
Resolution 2022-266 is consideration of the usage of ARPA funding for repairs to the Schrader roof facility. Deputy County Administrator Coons is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon. Donna Kuntz, Deputy County Administrator. Once again, Commissioners, these projects were presented to you back in August, so we are now coming forward to seek the funding. The first one is for my Schrader roof project. The Schrader building was built in 1967. That building houses 4 different departments. 3 are county departments. 1 is our Public Defender's Department. And the last major roof repair was in 2016, and I am experiencing some substantial roof leaks in that building. And so I'm seeking funding to re-roof that building. The funding amount is $198,000.
So the current roof is, I'm sorry, you said 2014?
2016 was the last major
2016.
repair to it, yeah.
Oh, repairs, okay. I thought you said, I was going to say, I don't remember it being replaced, but that would be a rather short lifespan indeed. Part of the issue, of course, is that it's a pretty much flat roof, isn't it?
It is a flat roof. We have leaks around flashing. We have several of the roof pans are leaking. 3 out of the 4 departments are experiencing raining at various times.
I don't remember, I mean, I've been here almost 8 years. I don't remember a time when that roof was not leaking. So yeah, it's been obviously something that has been an ongoing issue. What's the life expectancy of the roof once we put it on? I mean, do we have obviously you don't have a crystal ball, but.
Well, you know, it's always weather dependent, but with the type of roof we're looking at, we're looking at like a 20 to 25-year roof.
Okay. Any other questions?
No questions. I guess I just want a clarification. I noticed there's 2 different dates on here. The building was built, was it 87 or 67?
67. The building was built in 1967.
It says 87 on this one.
No questions, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on 2022-266? Seeing none, 2022-266 will appear on next week's regular agenda. That brings us to 2022-267.
Resolution 2022-267 is the consideration of the utilization of ARPA funding to do building remodeling at the Quick Building. Deputy County Administrator Coons is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Donna Kuntz, Deputy County Administrator. Yes, the county purchased a building just down the street in 2021. We had been utilizing half of that building as office space. And then when we purchased, we were leasing that space, and then when we purchased the building, we now have the other side of the building as well. And as of yet, we have done nothing to renovate that space. It was used as a lobby format before, and we would like to get that side of the building renovated so that we could house office space in there.
How much more square feet will that open up for us?
I can pull that number for you. I don't have it right here in front of me.
We can get it.
But we basically, we have half, it give us half more of the building.
I was going to say it's rough. Yeah, it's half of what we're using
Yes,
right now, so we would double the space on
Yes.
that floor. Very
Correct.
good. Any other questions?
No questions, thanks.
No questions, thank you.
Are there any other comments on 2022-267? Seeing none, 2022-267 will appear on regular agenda for next week. That brings us to 2022-268. Administrator?
Resolution 2022-268 is consideration of the utilization of ARPA funding to do a remodel in the prosecutor's office. Deputy County Administrator Coons has information on this project.
Please proceed.
Donna Kuntz, Deputy County Administrator. Yes, this is a request more on behalf of the prosecutor's office. They received some funding due to their case backlog to increase the number of prosecutors they have. And literally that department is overflowing and bursting at the seams. Some of the office have to be shared by 2 attorneys. And so by adding additional attorneys, we're really out of space. There's no place to put them without building some accommodations. And this is building 3 offices and a conference room area within their existing space. We have already done some movement of a group of cubicles and pushed them further to one end of the department. So we've opened up an area where we could put these 3 offices and put in a conference room for them.
And this is what the prosecutor was presenting to us, I believe last month, perhaps it was earlier than that.
That is correct, and he came on and spoke for this particular need.
Okay. Questions?
No questions?
No questions.
Anyone from the, care to make any comments on 2022-268? Seeing none. 2022-268 will appear on next week's regular agenda then.
Thank you. Yep.
That brings us to 2022-287, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-287 is the consideration and approval of using ARPA funding for a riprap shoreline stabilization project. Parks Director Mike Driscoll is here to provide information on this. This was part of the 22 budget process and was discussed at that point in time as a possible consideration of utilizing the ARPA funding. So this was not discussed back in August with the other projects that we've just talked about. But Director Driscoll will provide you information on the project.
Proceed, please.
Mike Driscoll, Clay County Parks Director. This first resolution is asking for the approval of ARPA funds for shoreline stabilization with riprap. And we've done this on numerous occasions whenever possible, and we'd like to continue this project. It'll help basically with the longevity of the lake and protect our areas as well along the trails and stuff. It provides, you know, a continuation of the Corps and our efforts to stabilize the shoreline and make the lake extend its useful purpose, its life, so drinking water for Smithville and Plattsburgh.
Okay. Questions or comments?
No questions, thank you.
Just one quick question. In terms of the dollar amount, is that just an estimate at this point?
It's an estimate. We can get only a certain amount done. Seems like, you know, there's a short window of time a lot of times when we can actually get out to the lake shore and do this. Some years we can do more if we have, you know, more money available. If conditions are right, we can do more. But this is just kind of an estimated amount to think what we can get done. We have, you know, pretty specific needs, and we'd like to get some done almost every year if possible. But this would at least give us funding to do what we can this year, or this coming year.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to comment on 2022-287? Seeing none, 2022-287 then would be on next week's regular agenda. That brings us to 2022-289, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-289 is the consideration of utilizing ARPA funding and authorizing contracts for the highway perimeter fencing, the shop bay floor project, and the shop office floor project with MTS Contracting and Zimco Contracting. And Terry Griffin from the Highway Department is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Terry Griffin, Highway Administrator. This is a request to approve the proposal from 2 separate on-call contractors to perform the work that the Administrator just described. We will replace the highway perimeter fencing that is falling down with MTS Contracting for a price of $39,800. We will do repairs to the shop bay floor that is cracked and moving with Zipco Contracting for $6,570. And we'll repair the shop office flooring that is a broken and slip and trip hazard and MTS Contracting will also do that project, and that is $6,425. And all of this is done through the ARPA funds.
Questions or comments?
No questions.
Is there anyone else wishing to comment on 2022-289? Seeing none, 2022-289 will appear on next week's regular agenda. That brings us to 2022-282, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-282 and the following two additional resolutions are presentations to the Commission on consideration of authorizing projects that would also utilize ARPA funding. So Resolution 2022-282 is a combination of the stormwater infrastructure projects that we are proposing. Terry Griffin is here, and she will do a presentation on each one of the projects and provide the Commission information.
Please proceed.
Terry Griffin, Highway Administrator. Each of these projects that we're presenting today will have a positive public benefit and provide a high-quality stormwater infrastructure with additional resiliency needed to adapt to changes caused by construction and development trends and by more extreme and frequent storm events. The projects will provide essential services in stormwater management and control. They will be designed and constructed to provide the greatest public benefit and community impact using local workforces and strong labor standards. The first project will be on Fishing River at Nation Road. Uncontrolled stormwater in Fishing River resulted in critical stream bank damage that undermined and destroyed about 250 feet of a 35-foot-high stream bank near Nation Road and caused the roadway to collapse during a storm in June of 2022. Repeated extreme precipitation events continue to erode the stream bank and threaten additional collapse both upstream and downstream from the collapsed area. Damage to the roadway has closed this section of Nation Road to all traffic and created a 4.5-mile detour. Nation Road is an important corridor for farming operations and for residents traveling to and from Kearney, Liberty, and Kansas City for work, school, church, shopping, and so forth. Erosion and additional damage will continue to occur until the stream bank is stabilized and a resilient stormwater erosion control system is put in place. Continued erosion may cause irreparable damage to properties along the stream bank and could permanently close a primary county road. This photo shows the damage immediately downstream from the damaged area. You can see that stormwater has already eroded the stream bank and created a small overhang area about halfway up the bank. Eventually, the bank will collapse because of the erosion that occurs. It will effectively, if this collapses, it will effectively double the length of the stream bank and roadway that will need to be repaired, stabilized, and armored to prevent continued damage. This project will evaluate the site and design a resilient solution to stabilize the damaged stream bank and control stormwater to prevent further damage. The cost of the project is estimated to be about $4 million. A branch of Fishing River.
Do we want to, I'm just curious, do commissioners want to go ahead and hear the entire thing, or do we want to pause, see if there are any questions about individual projects? What would be the preference?
Just going through it and letting her talk.
I'm good with that.
Very well. Just want to make sure that we were on the right track,
Okay.
so please go
Either
ahead.
way. The next project is on the branch of Fishing River at Riverbend Estates. More frequent and extreme precipitation events combined with construction and development trends have led to increased stormwater runoff since Riverbend Estates was developed in the late 1970s. Upstream development now causes heavier stormwater runoff throughout the subdivision. The project will replace or repair multiple culvert structures on stream channels that are no longer adequate to manage or control current or future stormwater. The new structures will provide resilient stormwater control and eliminate flooding throughout the neighborhood. Project planning will include consideration of development that is anticipated to continue upstream from the subdivision. The estimated cost of this project is $258,580. A branch of Holmes Creek on 112th Street. A tributary to Holmes Creek presents a damaged, eroded stream channel with deteriorating stream banks. A preliminary engineering assessment recommended that the stream channel be realigned for a more efficient stormwater flow and that a poorly aligned, failing box culvert which poses a threat to the roadway be replaced. The new structure is a necessary investment to provide essential services for local residents by building a resilient road stream crossing that will properly manage and control stormwater. The estimated cost of the project is $180,570. Crockett Creek at Long Ridge Road. The road stream crossing on Crockett Creek has sustained severe stormwater damage. The stream banks are damaged and eroded. Uncontrolled stormwater has caused a sinkhole to form in the roadway and the structure has rotated out of alignment, structural integrity is compromised, and stormwater flow is impeded. The stream banks will be repaired, resilient stormwater controls put in place, and a new road stream crossing will be built to align with the stream channel to provide a sustainable crossing. The estimated cost of this project and to repair the road stream crossing is $572,860. A branch of Rush Creek at Rains Road. This project will replace an outdated road stream crossing structure that no longer functions efficiently with a modern, resilient structure designed to manage and control stormwater during heavy precipitation events. Stormwater has caused significant bank erosion, and stabilizing fill behind the wing walls is washing out, causing additional instability in the structure. Uncontrolled stormwater has undermined the structure footings and weakened the interior support beams, creating a slow but inevitable collapse of the structure, which is located on an essential roadway in the southeastern part of the county. The estimated cost of the project is $240,000. Brushy Creek at Northeast 137th and Northeast 136th Street. There is a low water crossing on Brushy Creek where uncontrolled stormwater floods and washes out the roadway with every rainfall. The flooding damages the stream banks and creates a 6.5-mile detour for residents to get from one side of the crossing to the other when water covers the roadway. In the same corridor, there are several culverts that no longer handle stormwater efficiently, resulting in stormwater backups that endanger both public and private property. The project will build safe, appropriate road stream crossing infrastructure to manage and control stormwater at the low water crossing, repair or replace failed culverts, and install resilient erosion controls to prevent future damage. This is a necessary investment that will provide great public benefit. The estimated cost of the project is $1,183,400. A stormwater drainage channel at Clear Creek at Plattsburgh Road. This project will repair a stormwater drainage channel that has been damaged by frequent extreme storm events. The damage has created an obstruction in the drainage channel that causes backflow that erodes an embankment that protects a residence from stormwater flooding. Repair of the drainage channel will stabilize the channel, rebuild the drainage area, and armor the channel to manage and control stormwater and create a resilient, sustainable drainage channel. Cost of this project is estimated to be $18,000. A branch of Carroll Creek at Endicott Road. This project will repair severe stream bank and channel erosion upstream and downstream from a narrow, aging road stream crossing that has extensive stormwater damage and is no longer aligned to the stream channel. Unmanaged stormwater is undermining the roadway, and the edges of the road are beginning to fail. This project will repair the stormwater damage to the stream banks and add additional armoring to redirect and control the stormwater. The failing structure will be replaced with a resilient structure correctly aligned to the stream channel in order to manage and control the stormwater. Estimated cost of the project is $655,300. Mother's Head Creek at Old BB Road. Uncontrolled stormwater at this location has caused sloughing and eroding of the stream banks. Stormwater is cutting a narrow side channel on one side of the main streamway, which will broaden the width of the stream and create additional stress on the road stream crossing structure, which already shows severe stormwater damage. The force of stormwater during extreme events has broken wing walls on this structure, and they are now leaning towards the creek. This project will assess the stream channel and banks and provide a sustainable solution to effectively manage and control stormwater at this location with a crossing structure aligned to the stream channel. The estimated cost of the project is $714,700. And that is all of the stormwater projects.
That was quite a little bit. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Yeah, just real quick on the Fishing River and Nation Road project. That's the most expensive of these
Yes.
projects, and it's also sort of the cost estimate is sort of the most rounded off in terms of being the least specific. Do you have any sense of at what stage we might get a more exact number on that project?
As soon as the commission approves authorizes us to go ahead with the project, we'll contact an engineer and get started on it. The longer we delay starting, the more erosion will occur and the higher cost the project will be. So until we get a little further into it, I can't give a more exact estimate.
Thank you.
Do you anticipate much in the way of delays as far as supply lines issues going? I mean, you
Your
never
guess is-
know.
Yeah, you never know. Your guess is as good as mine. We're seeing some relief in supply line structures, and I think if we start at this point, by the time we get the engineering done, I think the supply chain is going to even out a little bit, and we shouldn't have as much trouble as what we've had more recently.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson?
Yeah, no, I have no questions, but I will say I'm really glad to see these on here. As someone who has gone through and drove around the county numerous times and seen the deterioration, particularly the ones over here on Fishing River, this is something that we need to take care of. This is our basic infrastructure, so I'm really glad to see these are on here and hope we can move forward with them. Thank you.
Very good. Is there anyone who would care to comment on 2022-282? Seeing none, thank you. 2022-282, of course, regular agenda.
Great. Yeah.
Very good. That brings us to 2022-281, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-281 is considering of authorizing a project for the water line study at Smithville Lake, and Parks Director Driscoll is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Mike Driscoll, Clay County Parks Director. This request is for funding for a water line study to hopefully find the best and most feasible and cost-effective way to replace two large sections of water line that are underneath the lake, one extending from the Litton Center north into Crows Creek, the other from Crows Creek there by the boat ramp over to the Camp Branch side. Both of these sections are old ductile iron pipe, and they have failed 6 or 7 times in the last 15 years, with sometimes major holes, which basically shuts down the water completely on the east side of the lake. And this study would be, like I said, to try to find the best way to replace these with current conditions the way they are.
Yeah, this has been a problem for some time, so yeah, I'm glad we're addressing this. Questions or comments?
No questions, thank you.
No questions. Thanks.
Are there any comments on 2022-281? Seeing none, 2022-281 will be on our regular agenda next week.
Agree.
Brings us to 2022-290, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-290 is a resolution considering authorizing the project for county technology projects related to Arpa funding. So this is the last presentation this evening on categories of new Arpa projects that we're introducing to the Commission, and IT Director Shaw will provide information on these 7 projects.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon. Kevin Shaw, IT Director for Clay County. Resolution 2022-290 is coming to you for consideration for these following technology projects to use ARPA funding. She said 7, there is actually 6, 1 was pulled today. But we're going to talk about the electronic signatures, agenda management. I'll go through each one of these in a slide. So the electronic signature. The electronic signing of documents could be, with electronic signatures, we could replace our current procedures of passing documents in our office and have wet signatures to get approval and replace them with electronic signature. We estimate that this would cost about $10,000 in the first year. Agenda management system. Next is our expanding the agenda management system to include the media package also, and our agenda management system could provide the ability to conduct commission meetings remotely, including posting public announcements, the agenda, and also including the recording along with the agenda. We anticipate this cost to be about $15,000, a little under $15,000 right now. Also, we want to include the website hosting, during a COVID outbreak, doing business online is even more essential, and revamping our website and hosting of it with the provider could make us more accessible to our constituents remotely and less public interface. We anticipate website hosting would take about $43,000 of implementation, about $10,000 a year. Doing laptop deployment, we would like to take every employee that has a desktop and replace them with a laptop. Upgrading our desktop PCs for employees' workstations would accommodate remote work capabilities and also make it accessible for cameras, speakers, microphones for remote meetings. We anticipate this to be a one-time cost of $126,000. The accounting system conversion. With upgrades to our current accounting system, we could change this to having paperless POs and accounts payable procedures, also enhance the county's technology infrastructure. I think you would see it also in the purchase orders, and their commission warrant batches would not necessitate a wet signature. We anticipate this to be a $450,000 investment. Lastly is the planning and zoning permitting software. This would allow the citizens to submit their applications online and do all the code enforcement and things that the planning and zoning department does. They could do it on an online program. They could also follow with what's been done, so there'd be communication going back and forth. This also would mitigate any in-person contact. We anticipate this would be about $130,000. We took off the grand jury, and are there any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you. Just on the website revamp, I'm curious to hear more in terms of what we're envisioning there in terms of a complete overhaul of the current website, or what you're envisioning there. Thank you.
Correct. Want to hear that now?
Please. Thank you.
As you know, the website now is using a free service. We have to manage it with people here. It's been slighted quite a bit of late, and there's only a few people who can make the changes. I think it's not selling what we do well, and doing another municipality-styled website would give us a better chance to reach out to our constituents and serve them better. So that's where I believe that a website revamp, it would be the entire revamp. It would be setting up a new system and then ongoing maintenance of it.
Yeah, no, wonderful. I think there's a lot of room for improvement there, and I think there's widespread agreement on that. So I'm glad to hear a full overhaul is envisioned. I think that would be a fantastic thing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Thompson?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else would like to make any comments on 2022-290? Seeing none. 2022-290 for regular agenda on our next week's agenda. Thank you. That brings us to 2022-288, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-288 is consideration of a use request for county grounds by the University of Missouri Extension to be held here in front of the Rooney Justice Center. And the Deputy County Administrator Coons is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Donna Kuntz, Deputy County Administrator. Yes, this is actually a request from our MU Extension Office to use our Rooney Justice Plaza on October the 15th. They're stepping out of the box. They feel like they're a hidden gem, and they would like to make themselves a little more known by the public. On that day, we would still be continuing having farmers market going on around the square, so we'd already have public in the area, and they would like to host some little mini booths and some information. They want to bring out their master gardeners, you know, highlight their 4-H group, have information. They're going to have some kids' activities, possibly some animals or something to be able to pet that day. This is a free event, and G.K. Callahan from the Extension Office is here should you have any particular questions.
Does anybody have any questions of the Deputy Administrator?
No, no question.
Thank you. Would GK like to, I should say, would Mr. Callahan like to address the commission? Sorry.
Hi, G.K. Callahan, Engagement Specialist at the University of Missouri. We're just really trying to get the word out of all the programs that you guys help sponsor. We offer so much at the university, it's kind of overwhelming, and we this year have gone around to our different counties that we are in the Urban West and done these MU Extension Days to really kind of a little expo about what people, services they can come get from the university. So Clay County's next. We want to have one here. We love Clay County, so.
Any questions or comments?
I have no questions, but I, as an advocate for University of Missouri Extension, think they are truly a hidden gem. They are in the numerous programs involved, and I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a great time. So everyone come out, and Margaret better bring her goats, and we're going to have a great time out there. So yeah.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. With that, is anyone else wishing to comment on 2022-288? Seeing none. 2022-288 consent?
Yes, please.
Very good. Good, we're back to consent. That brings us to 2022-269, Administrator.
Resolution 2022-269 is consideration of a transfer within a fund. This may look a little familiar to the commission as we've moved some funding around to address fuel prices. And Parks Director Driscoll is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Mike Driscoll, Clay County Parks Director. Like almost everyone else, we did not budget for fuel costs being probably 30 or 40% higher than last year. This transfer of funds within a fund is just for maintenance and operations to purchase fuel to get through the rest of the year.
Questions or comments?
No questions.
No questions, thank you.
Very good. Anyone else wishing to comment on 2022-269? Seeing none. Transfer of funds, consent?
Agreed.
Yes, please.
Very well. 2022-269 will be on consent next meeting. That brings us to 2022-270. Administrator?
Yes, Resolution 2022-270 is also a resolution in consideration of moving funds within a fund, and Parks Director Driscoll is here to provide information.
Please proceed.
Mike Driscoll, Clay County Parks Director. This also asks for a transfer within a fund to pay health insurance costs in the 302 budget lines. And basically, we had a little shortfall from personnel changes in that line, and this is just to extend this line item to get through the rest of the year.
Questions?
No questions.
Anyone else wishing to comment on 2022-270? Seeing none. 2022-270, as it is a transfer of funds, consent? Very well. That brings us to 2022-272. Administrator?
Resolution 2022-272 is consideration of making modifications to our boat slip storage license agreement that we have with tenants out at Smithville Lake. And Deputy County Administrator Coons is here to discuss this proposal.
Administrator? Deputy Administrator?
Donna Kuntz, Deputy County Administrator. Yes, this is a continuation of that we had been re-looking at our boat lease rental agreement. It's called our revocable license. And actually, this is a cleanup request, technically from our legal department on their final review. And our license clearly states that we have the ability to cancel the license, the agreement with 30 days notice. It was always implied that the slip leasee could also have that right, but it was more implied and it wasn't in clear written language. And so we have rewritten this and made it clear that they also can cancel the agreement at any point with 30 days' notice.
Okay. It sounds to me like it's kind of a technical cleanup. Is that a proper characterization?
I would classify it almost as a Scrivener's error in the aspect that it's, as Donna mentioned, it's implied, but we really need to have it clarified in the contract that both parties have the ability to cancel the contract with 30 days' notice.
The reason I ask about it being a technical clarification or not is, do we want to put it on, but at the heart of that is, if it's just a technical cleanup of something that was already there, then I think I'm comfortable with consent. If it's something that we think that our the people who are leasing the spaces are going to want to have more opportunity to input on, then it should be on regular. I don't have a specific, head of steam up on either one. Do either other commissioners have a preference?
I'm comfortable with consent because it sounds like it's just allowing our renters to have the ability to cancel. So it's putting the ball in their court.
Yeah, that kind of sounds
giving
like
them
that
more
to me.
I agree, consent, yeah.
Very good. In that case, I think, unless there's any further comment on 2022-272, we will put that on for consent next meeting. That brings us to 2022-271. Administrator?
Resolution 2022-271 is consideration of approving an agreement between the Office of Administration with the State of Missouri and Clay County and Jackson County for fiscal year 2023. As the commission may recall, in April of this year, we brought forward to you consideration to participate with Jackson County and the City of Kansas City, Missouri, to do a feasibility study for the Buck O'Neill Bridge. That project is actually underway. The commission approved those interlocal agreements with Resolution 2022-112. We've been approached by the state of Missouri for both Jackson County and Clay County to sort of re-up the agreement. Their fiscal year is running out, the project is not done, and so they need authorization to reappropriate the funds into their fiscal year to finish out the feasibility study. So this is really an administrative function to continue on with the project that the commission had already approved to be part of. Does not obligate the county to any funds for the feasibility study or any future costs for the project itself.
Would this be required for this project to go forward?
It is required so that it continue. There has been a selection of the consulting firm that is doing the feasibility study, so they are in process, and I'm sure they would appreciate, along with the City of Kansas City and Jackson County, that this is clarified with the state so that the additional funds are available when the project is concluded, which will be in the state's next fiscal year.
I had some conversations related to this with one of the city council members and with the city manager that would include other considerations. I wanted to make sure that those considerations have moved forward before we would go forward. So I would like to see this on regular agenda. That way it would give me the chance to verify that that nothing has fallen through the cracks. Any questions or comments on 2022-271?
No, just I know that we're all excited about moving forward in some capacity, and the study is an important piece of that. But certainly, if another week would help with those conversations, I'm comfortable doing regular as well. So,
No questions?
Very good. Then, unless there's anyone else who would like to comment on 2022-271, then we'll go on regular for next week. That brings us to 2022-273. Administrator?
Resolution 2022-273 is consideration approving a payment to Synergy House with the domestic violence funds. The Domestic Violence Board met. They sought applications for a grant. The Synergy was the only applicant, and so the Board of Domestic Violence is recommending the funds be provided to Synergy in the amount of $26,877.90.
Awfully good cause. Comments or questions?
No questions.
No questions, thank you.
Since this is expenditure of money that would go on for regular next week, then I think, please. That brings us to our, I believe, final item, 2022-262.
Resolution 2022-262 is consideration of a contract for professional services with Children's Mercies Hospital in the amount of $7,000. This was part of the 22 budget process. This is a budgeted amount, and we have received a request by Children's Mercy to receive the $7,000.
Very good. Questions or comments?
No questions.
No questions, thank you.
Would the, okay, so this would go on regular?
Sounds good to me.
Very good, then 2022-262. Very good, then 2022-262 would be appear on regular for next week. That brings us to the end of this regular agenda. Would anyone like to give a shot at making a motion related to the agenda today?
Yes, Commissioner, I move that we put the following items on next Wednesday, 6 p.m.'s consent agenda 2022, 274, 275, 276, 277, 278, 279, 2022 ordinances 24 and 25, and 26, 2022 280, 288, 269, 270, 272. Hopefully that's correct, and with the remaining items on next Wednesday, 6 p.m.'s regular agenda.
Motion's been made to distribute the items we took up today between the regular and consent agenda for next week's agenda as proposed by Commissioner Carpenter. Discussion?
No discussion?
Very well. You're recognized to close.
Close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
That brings us to comments on non-agenda items. Are there any members of the public who would like to, any members of the public, any office holders, or any agencies who would like to comment on any of the items that were not covered under today's agenda? As long as this agenda is, I'm a little surprised if there's anything left to talk about. Seeing none, that brings us to County Administrator comments. Please proceed.
Yes, thank you, Commission. Just one item to announce in that in collaboration with the City of Liberty, the county will be hosting a Patriot Day Remembrance event to be held this Sunday, September the 11th at 8:46 a.m. in the plaza in front of the Rooney Justice Center and the Liberty City Hall.
Thank you. I'm sure that's something that we will all be able to certainly remember when that day comes by. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Carpenter, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
No comments, thank you.
Commissioner Thompson?
No comments, thank you.
I as well feel all talked out. So that brings us to the approval of the agenda of minutes of previous sessions. We have two sets, June 8, 2022, 3 p.m., June 15, 2022, 6 p.m. Is there a motion related to the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the June 8th and the June 15th meeting minutes as printed.
Motion has been made for the approval of the minutes of June 8, 2022, 3 p.m., and June 15, 2022, 6 p.m. Discussion? You're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Are there any written reports to submit to the commission at this
Not
time?
today.
There are none. That brings us to executive sessions. The agenda has listed executive sessions under legal, under real estate, and under personnel. Is there a motion related to executive session?
Commissioner, I move that we move into executive session under the aforementioned items.
Very well. Motion has been made to move into executive session under legal, Missouri Statute 610.021, parentheses 1, real estate, 261.0.021, parentheses 2, and personnel, 210.021, parentheses 3. Discussion? Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Very well. We will now go into executive session and to adjourn therefore.